For years, the masses assumed the future of computing would arrive as louder screens and thinner glass. Then quietly, without lifestyle ads or launch theatrics, Holomat entered the conversation sideways. Not as a device you buy, but as a surface you interact with.
So we're gonna take a little inspiration from the Avengers, where Tony Stark rolls out this bad boy and starts designing Avengers Tower. And we want to bring this awesome engineering superpower to life.
Holomat is not trying to replace the screen. It is asking what happens when the screen dissolves into space itself. At its core, Holomat is about spatial presence, not display dominance. Information does not live behind glass anymore. It occupies volume, depth, and orientation. Where previous interfaces framed reality, Holomat sits inside it. This is not spectacle-first computing. This is computation that assumes your environment matters. While the masses still chase resolution numbers and panel brightness, the elite notice the shift. Holomat does not compete for attention, it repositions it. In a meta addicted to focus theft, that silence is intentional. The word mat is doing more work than most people realize. A mat is not a screen you stare at, it is a surface you operate on. Holomat treats space itself as a working plane. Depth becomes selectable. Distance becomes meaningful. Instead of pinching a flat rectangle, users interact with layered holographic depth zones. Tasks float, anchor, recede, and return based on contextual relevance. It feels less like opening apps, and more like arranging tools on air. This is where the technology becomes architectural, not decorative. Holomat systems rely on spatial mapping, gesture fidelity, eye tracking, and intent prediction. Not to show off, but to reduce cognitive friction. Where legacy interfaces force translation, Holomat favors direct manipulation. The masses see holograms and think novelty. The elite see a working surface that removes entire interface categories. Don't follow the crowd. Follow the aura. Holomat does not feel new because parts of it have existed for decades. Science fiction called it holograms. Industrial design called it spatial workflow. Engineers called it inevitable. The real lore of Holomat lives in how humans already work. We spread papers on desks. We arrange objects by proximity. We remember spatial relationships better than nested menus. Holomat formalizes that instinct into a computational language. Information gains place, not just state. You remember where something lived, not which folder it was trapped in. This is not nostalgia for analog tools. It is a synthesis, digital precision wrapped around human spatial memory. In quiet demos and internal trials, Holomat has shown faster task reacquisition and reduced context loss. That is not marketing magic, that is behavioral alignment. The meta lesson here is subtle. The future does not always add features, sometimes it removes translation layers.
But what if you want to design 3D models and actually create them on the Holomat? Well, we made an app for that too. This is the 3D Model Creator app, and it allows you to create a model with just your voice. A raccoon in a party hat in a trash can. We were able to accomplish this Tony Stark style of building with a model called Hunyan 3D by Tencent. It takes an image and turns it into a 3D model. So the whole pipeline is speech to text, then text to image using DALL-E 3, then image to 3D model.
Every new interface raises the same fear: overload. Too much information, too close, too immersive. Holomat responds with restraint instead of maximalism. By default, layers collapse when not in use. Depth queues replace notification floods. Ambient data fades unless explicitly summoned. This is not accidental. Holomat systems are designed around cognitive load ceilings, not throughput bragging rights. Interaction density is tuned, not unleashed. The biggest misunderstanding is control. Holomat does not trap users inside immersion. It allows them to step out instantly. Reality always remains the lowest latency interface. The masses fear loss of control when technology surrounds them. The elite understand that control is about exit cost. Holomat keeps that cost low by design. Don't follow the crowd. Follow the aura. Holomat is not chasing consumer shock cycles. It scales slowly, because spatial literacy scales slowly. Developers think in planes today, not volumes. That is why Holomat prioritizes tooling and abstraction layers. Builders define interaction zones, not hard-coded coordinates. Content adapts to environments instead of dictating them. This positions Holomat as a long-horizon platform. Education, design, simulation, and collaborative work benefit first. Entertainment follows later, once muscle memory settles. This mirrors every interface shift before it. The ones that survive do not rush adoption. They wait for alignment. If you are measuring Holomat by launch buzz, you are missing the pattern. Holomat is playing endurance, not virality. Holomat does not promise to replace your tools overnight. It promises that one day, screens will feel oddly flat. Not worse, just insufficient. It reframes computation as something you coexist with, not stare into. That is a profound shift, even if it arrives quietly. The masses will debate whether it is necessary. The elite will already be working differently. And years later, the difference will feel obvious in hindsight. Don't follow the crowd. Follow the aura.
Hey Jarvis.
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
Open up the Arc Reactor project on my Holomat.
I'm opening the Arc Reactor project on your Holomat, sir. I notice you have some STL files in that project folder. You have 2 3D printers available. Would you like me to switch the Holomat to print mode?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. I am switching the Holomat to print mode. I'm displaying the renders of the files in the Arc Reactor folder and showing you the printers you have available. There are some simple slicer settings you may choose from. Please select a printer, sir. The estimated print time for this file is 30 minutes. In the meantime, let me know if there's anything else I can do for you.